Alice Bailey, who founded the LUCIFER Trust, which is the publishing house which prints and disseminates United Nations material. This connection shows the New Age and pagan nature of the UN and the New World Order. LUCIFER Trust was established in 1922 as LUCIFER Trust by Alice Bailey, which disseminates the books of Bailey and Helena Blavatsky. Bailey changed the name to LUCIFER Trust because LUCIFER Trust revealed the true nature of the New Age movement too clearly. LUCIFER Trust is sponsored by, among others, Robert McNamara, former Minister of Defense in the USA, President of the World Bank, and member of the Rockefeller Foundation, and Thomas Watson of IBM, former ambassador to Moscow. LUCIFER Trust sponsors, among others, are the following organizations: the UN, Greenpeace International, Greenpeace USA, Amnesty International, and the UNICEF. As Fritz Springmeier notes in his book Bloodlines of the Illuminati, the Rockefellers have played a role in LUCIFER Trust and the United Nations. David Rockefeller is a part of LUCIFER Trust's management.
What are those? Those are heavy-duty environmental organizations. Save the whales, save the dolphins. Why are they publishing? Why are they sponsoring and wanting to help out? Oh, I thought they were good. No, I'm sorry. I'm not saying that I don't want to save the whales or preserve animal rights and things like that. I love animals, okay? But the problem you run into this is an organization like Greenpeace. Who are they yoked up with? Well, their efforts seem noble. Well, their efforts ultimately are going to lead to a planet where they're going to take away our rights because Mother Gaia has to be preserved. So although some of what they do is noble, okay, trying to protect, or it seems noble, the reality is who they've yoked themselves up with are the most hardcore globalist, elite, Illuminati that you can possibly be. But see, again, this is how Satan does things. United Nations, if you read their literature, comes under the banner of peace, love, destroying poverty, feeding the hungry, all this other stuff. When in reality, they're actually doing the exact opposite, if the truth be known.
No one did more to popularize the idea of the Earth Spirit than Alice Bailey. It was her writing that influenced the Gaia religion of the United Nations, which will play an important role in the coming world government. LUCIFER Trust promulgates the work of a, quote, ascended master, a spiritual being who was working through or in Alice Bailey for some 30 years. The LUCIFER Trust Publishing Company and their many fronts carry out the work of a Luciferian, quote, master plan for the establishment of something they call the Age of Aquarius. LUCIFER Trust is a powerful institution that enjoys consultative status with the United Nations, which permits it to have a close working relationship with the UN, including a seat on the weekly sessions, but most importantly, influence with powerful business and national leaders throughout the world. Through its founding of world goodwill, LUCIFER Trust is, quote, aggressively involved in promoting a globalist ideology. Bailey's influential occult organization is tied to an international conspiracy of elitists like the Council on Foreign Relations, the Bilderbergs, and the Trilateral Commission. A spirit that called itself Deja Kul wrote many books through her. These included a plan that detailed many aspects of a world government that she called the New World Order. Quotes like, "In a preparatory period for the New World Order, there will be a steady and regulated disarmament. It will not be optional. No nation will be permitted to produce and organize any equipment for destructive purposes or to infringe the security of any other nation." She actually outlines the process of how to prepare humanity for the New World Order in a section of her book, Externalization of the Hierarchy, called Steps Towards the New World Order. In another section called The Problem of Government, she appears to lay out the plan that would later become the basis for the Trilateral Commission by outlining how to divide the world into 3 blocks. But first she states this: "Coming now to the realm of government under the New World Order, one is faced with a very complex situation. Various basic trends of thought are appearing which, in the New World Order, will unfold in that major synthesis so much desired by the spiritual hierarchy of the planet. In addition to being one of the founders of the ideals and philosophies of those planning global governance, her writings also gained immense fame with another people group, that is of the so-called New Age. Her extensive writings served as the foundational beliefs of the New Age movement to this day." Terry Melanson, founder of ConspiracyArchive.com, said the following about the Lucis Trust logo. Quote, "The Lucis Trust logo features this streaming blue light. The New Age symbol invented by Foster Bailey, Alice Bailey's 32nd degree Freemason husband, has a plethora of symbolic imagery. The symbol, according to Lucis Trust, is, quote, set in a limitless field of blue, which signifies the sphere of life expression of our solar logos. Superimposed upon the triangle of New Age forces is the 5-pointed star." In her book, Rays and Initiations, Alice Bailey reveals that the solar logos is Lucifer himself. 2 organizations spawned by Alice Bailey's work, the Lucis Trust and the World Goodwill Organization, are both staunch promoters of the United Nations. He also says, Alice Bailey founded the Arcane Esoteric School. She claimed to channel an entity she called the Tibetan, and she produced a number of books including Hierarchy of Masters, The 7 Rays, A New Group of World Servers, and New World Religion. Bailey said that her Tibetan master had told her the Second World War was necessary to defend the plan of God. That sounds ridiculous to me, but there are many in the New Age field who believe that everything is a part of the plan and the will of God, even a global Holocaust.
She also is quoted saying, "Within the United Nations is the germ and seed of a great international and meditating reflective group, a group of thinking and informed men and women in whose hands lies the destiny of humanity." You'll see this theme in this teaching today. These arrogant, satanically possessed people firmly believe that they are the planet's only hope because they know what's best. That's why when they say we need to cull 90 to 95% of the population of the world, like the Georgia Guidestones clearly states, and like many of them clearly will state, Ted Turner, Maurice Strong, all these people, when they say they have to kill 90 to 95% of the planet, they firmly believe they're the only ones that have the mental capacity to make that judgment and to pass that judgment on humanity.
In the Book of Co-Creation, New Age leader Barbara Marx Hubbard states, quote, "Out of the full spectrum of human personality, 1/4 is electing to transcend, 1/4 is resistant to election. They are unattracted by life ever evolving. Now as we approach the quantum shift from creature human to co-creative human, the destructive 1/4 must be eliminated from the social body. Fortunately you, dearly beloveds, are not responsible for this act. We are. We are in charge of God's selection process for planet Earth. He selects, we destroy. We are the riders of the pale horse, death."
One thing I didn't know, I know I've told you before in times past, where the logo of the United Nations is a picture of the world with a wreath around it, which symbolizes their goal is to actually conquer the world. Okay, and I've stated what that meant in earlier teachings. Okay, but one thing I wasn't aware of is that when you look at that world that they have in the United Nations, it looks like it's almost like in this target. Okay, and if you count the segments within the target, there's 33 segments that are split up into this world map. And Again, 33 being probably one of the most sacred occult numbers. You know, you have the 33rd degree Mason. The motto of the 33rd degree is Ordo ab Chaos, which is order out of chaos, which is what the goal of the New World is. New World Order and the United Nations and the Freemasons, particularly at the higher levels, that's what it is. Order out of chaos. And so you've got 33 segments here in this United Nation logo, so I think that's pretty appropriate. They know exactly what they're doing. You know, it's just a lot of it's veiled symbolism, and nobody, you know, unless you really check into this, you're not going to understand what they're trying to convey to you. Now, the LUCIFER Trust is a publishing house which prints and disseminates United Nations material. It's a devastating indictment on the New Age and pagan nature of the United Nations. William Jasper, author of A New Age Religion, describes the religion of the United Nations as, quote, a weird and diabolical convergence of New Age mysticism, pantheism, aboriginal animism. Now that's a big word, a mouthful. Aboriginal animism. Doug, weren't you into that before? Oh, sorry, okay. Now I know how rumors get started. Atheism, communism, socialism, Luciferian occultism, apostate Christianity, Islam, Taoism, Buddhism, and Hinduism. Why didn't he throw the Kabbalism? The Kabbalah, because that's really the main crux of all this. But he didn't want to throw that one in. So this is what this William Jasper, who's the author of A New World Religion, he describes this UN as all these things rolled into one. Well, now, hold on. Doesn't that kind of make sense if they're wanting to pursue a New World Order, one world political system, one world currency, one world religious system? And you're going to see the one world religious system is really the foundational crux of the United Nations. If the truth be known, it's about the religion. It's about the spiritual aspect. That's really the most important thing, I believe, in this whole thing. Now, so you've got all these religions rolled up into one. Well, isn't that going to be the one world religion of the Antichrist? Well, sure.
Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, the influential New Age guru sought out by the Beatles, stated, quote, "There has not been and there will not be a place for the unfit. The fit will lead, and if the unfit are not coming along, there is no place for them. In the place where light dominates, there is no place for darkness." See, in his thinking, the fit are the New Agers, and the unfit are those who do not adopt the New Age beliefs. People who are, for example, fundamentalist Christians, Jews, people like this. So essentially, you see a lot of intolerance within the New Age movement. It's not all nice and dandy with these people. You know, they have the mask, they have the appearance of peace, love, harmony, but in their writings, they do come out and say that there is no place for Christians and people who do not accept their beliefs.
Maitreya is one of the main theosophy in Maitreya. The whole UN movement, the whole LUCIFER Trust movement, World Goodwill, they're going out of the way to try to discredit it and say, well, you know, Jesus, all he really was a disciple of Maitreya. He's still a disciple of Maitreya. Maitreya's over him, and Jesus, they believe what happened is Jesus heralded in the age of Pisces. Now what we're going to be doing is now we need to herald in the age of Aquarius. This is where the New World Order comes in, and this is what Maitreya is going to bring. So we're going to de-emphasize Jesus, and we're going to move over to Maitreya. Jesus is just a disciple of Maitreya anyway, according to them.